And welcome to the Howard Eskin Show. Uh, on the East Coast, where as we're doing this live, there are storms all over the East Coast. So if we lose you, it will only be momentary and we will get you back, just to give you a heads up. Uh, if the storms affect whatever it is that we're doing. But welcome. And thanks, as always, to our presenting sponsor, Stillwell Financial Advisors. Jeff Stillwell's the guy. If you do have, if you do have uh, an idea that you want to invest in your future, then Stillwell Financial Advisors and Jeff Stillwell would be the guy, to help you out and to help you make sure that, or to help you and make sure that your future becomes more secure with investing your wealth. And Jeff Stillwell could do that. And his number, if you want to get in touch with him, and I urge you to do so, good guy, knows his stuff, 732 343 0813. That's 732 343 0813. All right. On tonight's show, it is the 20-year anniversary of the most ridiculous, I'll call it a news conference, I'll call it a press gathering. I'll say it's one of the most ridiculous uh, points and news conferences that happened probably in Philadelphia sports history. And there's been some crazy ones, but this one was crazy. That was Terrell Owens, because he wasn't happy after a year after he signs a contract. He wasn't happy with his contract. So now he's going to play this little game and he's doing sit-ups in his driveway. And it's all good. The Eagles offensive coordinator during that time, the head coach was Andy Reid. The offensive coordinator, we've had Andy on. The offensive coordinator was Brad Childress, who worked under Andy and worked for the Eagles and under Andy Reid for 7 years. Offensive coordinator, I believe it was for 3 years before he went to become the head coach of the Minnesota Vikings. Now, we expect to have Brad on. For some reason, he's a little late, but Brad can kind of give us hopefully some background as to all the nonsense that went on. And that was the end of TO. It was literally the end of TO, and Andy Reid sent him home, and they couldn't wait to get rid of the guy. He was nothing. It's too bad. He was a great player, but nothing but a disruption. And some backstories to that whole thing. He just complained he wanted to be able to put food on the table for his family, and it's just making millions of dollars. They told him when he signed the contract what it was going to be. So hopefully Brad, and again, I don't know why he's late, but hopefully Brad will join us to talk about it. But before we do that, I want to tell you about the other people that are very good supporters of this program. And first up would be Audi Westchester. And right now, it seems like Audi Westchester's always got some kind of deal going on, and they have a deal going on now. And this is a really good deal. Lease a new 2025 Audi Q6 e-tron for $499 a month, or an Audi Q4 e-tron for $399 a month. You'll need $5,295 down for the Q6 and $4,156 down for the Q4 plus taxes, registration fees. Stop by Audi Westchester. And when you stop by, you're going to have fun. Who doesn't have fun when they look at new automobiles or pre-owned automobiles, if that's the way you want to go? Who doesn't have fun looking for another car? Well, I was there last week, and one of the people, a family, came in and got a not a Q7, Q7 and a Q8. So they were all chunked up on the Audi vehicle. The all-new facility located at 1421 Wilmington Pike. The special offer won't last long. It will not last long. And there's a tax credit on electric cars, and that won't last long. Lease a new 2025 Audi Q6 from e-tron for $499 a month, or an Audi Q4 e-tron for $399 a month. Check it all out, AudiWestchester.com. That's AudiWestchester.com. And you want a pool, but you want your property to look nice. And it's not just about a pool, it's your property to look nice. And to do that, Piazza Property Pros can help you out with that, because with 25 years of experience, they can build a new in-ground pool. And with 25 years of experience, and they don't subcontract, they can help your property look really, really nice. Excavation, hardscaping, fencing, landscaping, pool maintenance. If you already have a pool, you can trust Piazza Property Pros to deliver exceptional results on time within your budget. Call 610-566-2608, 610-566-2608, or check it out, piazzaoutdoor.com. That's Piazza Property Pros. All right. One of the things that was amazing, T.O. treated this like a circus. I mean, a circus. And here's a little piece of the, again, this is 20 years ago. And I remember it like it was yesterday because I was there. A little piece of T.O. with the reporters, and there was helicopters out there. There were TV trucks out there. It was nuts. It was crazy. It was actually ridiculous. But it was T.O. at his best. All right, let's hear part of the nonsense. And it was nonsense. It was in front of his house over in New Jersey. I believe it was Morristown, New Jersey. And it's in his driveway. And he brought out the exercise equipment. I mean, the whole thing was a complete joke. But it was funny because it was T.O. and T.O. being sometimes the clown. It's ridiculous. All right, let's hear part of this from the news conference.
Is the contract situation the problem here?
I got sent home till Wednesday for whatever reason. Like I said, I mean, it was just a difference of opinion. I was defending myself. So, hey, did anybody? How many is that? Damn, y'all making me lose count.
Is it about the contract? And he didn't answer the question. It was clearly about the contract. He signed, if I remember correctly, a 3-year deal. And with the 3-year deal, he wasn't happy after the first year with the money. They know what the money was going to be. They knew there were some stipulations in the contract just in case he went off the reservation in some way. It was absolutely crazy. Now, was he really good in the Super Bowl? Did he always think it was him more than anybody else on the team? Sure he did. He always thought it was about him and nobody else on the team. But it is truly, truly amazing. You know what? Hey, real truth, you're clueless. Everybody cares. Everybody cares about the nonsense of T.O. Come on, Howard. Nobody cares about this. It was so long ago. Is that right? So when there's something part of sports history, and it was a while ago, and 20 years goes by quickly, and it was a while ago, we don't care about it. T.O. lights off a fire in everybody's head when you talk about Terrell Owens. He was, his personality changes, craziness. It was, and then he goes on. This is the other thing that was really amazing. He goes on CNBC when all this is happening, and he's on with a guy named Donnie Deutsch, and Donnie Deutsch, and he says he's got to put food on the table for his family, and it's crazy. It's actually crazy. I see. Is Joe? Is Brad there? Yeah, let's bring him in. Let's bring in Brad Childress. Hey, Brad, how are you?
I'm great, Howard. How are you?
Another day in paradise, Brad. Another day in paradise. So I was just talking about the TO situation, and you were there. You were the offensive coordinator under Andy, and Andy had to be really pissed because Andy doesn't want anything to disrupt training camp. So
No.
tell me how. And we played, and I don't know if you're going to be able to hear this, and I don't know what you remember it. I just played it. I'm going to play it again. T.O. in his driveway. You may not be able to hear it, but you'll be able to see it. All right, let's play. Let's play T.O. again.
Is the contract situation the problem here?
I got sent home to Wednesday for whatever reason. Like I said, I mean, it was just a difference of opinion. I was defending myself. So, hey, did anybody? How many is that? Y'all making me lose count.
I don't know if you heard it, but you saw it.
I did.
Okay. All right. So when all this stuff was going on, what are the thoughts when you have, so you get together with Andy Reid, you get together with the other coaches, and T.O. is disrupting. You just came off a Super Bowl, which was pretty good. Even though you lost, you still got to the Super Bowl. What's going on within Andy and you guys and with T.O. going off the reservation?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I was shocked with all the things that he had done the year before, Howard. That he would come back that way because he was a hard-working guy and he loved to play football. And I don't know if somebody got in his ear or he himself thought he wasn't making enough money. He signed a contract. But yeah, he came back with a chip on his shoulder, combat fatigues, like right from day one. It was war on. So maybe he talked with Joe and Andy before that, and I want a new contract. And somebody said, again, that would be all conjecture on my part. But as I said, he was always compliant between the lines. He was being indignant outside the lines.
So you come off a Super Bowl. I mean, Andy Reid, I think Andy Reid's the best head coach in football. Now, you know how hard it is to be a head coach with 5 years with the Minnesota Vikings, an assistant for quite a while. You worked with Andy both here and in Kansas City. How tough is it coming into the next year, coming off a Super Bowl, and even though it was a loss, which amazingly, I don't know if you know the stats, Brad, in 31 or I think it's 31 years, only one team that has lost a Super Bowl has gone back the next year. It's
Right.
It's a crazy number.
Yeah.
So with all that going on, how difficult was it that year? And then that situation happens with T.O.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you can put a price tag on how difficult it was. I mean, for the way he was acting, I mean, he wasn't hiding it from anybody. And the thing was, I'm on the record about what he brought to our team the year we did go to the Super Bowl, and he showed up, and the way he practiced, it kind of brought our crew to a different level about, oh, that's how you do it, run 60 yards on every play after you catch a ball and run for a touchdown, and everybody's waiting in the huddle for you to come back so we can run the next play. We had never seen anything like that. The team had never seen anything like that. And yeah, I mean, in answer to your question, that's a long way around it, it was surprising.
Okay, so now, why do you think, and now being a head coach and being a coach and seeing what goes on, why do you think it's so difficult to go back to the Super Bowl after you lose a Super Bowl? It's obviously first of all, let's make it clear. It's tough to go back to the Super Bowl anyway.
Yes.
But after you lose, it seems like it's even more difficult. Why do you think that's the case?
Because I mean, where Howard, it's the ultimate win to win the Super Bowl, and I don't know that feeling, not having won a Super Bowl, but I can tell you this: it's the ultimate loss. Also, I mean, I can go back to the $1 million party that they're having with the Roots that night. I didn't even know who the Roots were then. That's how ignorant I was. But it's the ultimate loss in that you go into the off season and you feel worthless. You feel like we didn't finish this thing up, and it lingers and it hangs with you for too long.
You know what? I don't know if you remember Ken Hitchcock, who was a hockey coach, coached
Uh-huh.
with the Flyers, and then he won and lost with the Dallas hockey team.
Yes.
And I asked Ken one time, he said, "Why do you think it's so tough?" And it's pretty much all sports to go back. And his response was, players work so hard to get there, and then they don't win. Mentally, it may be because they're exhausted going into the next year.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and that's a legit factor. That's why you usually start your off-season program later. I know he's doing that at Kansas City. He starts it later for those guys because it takes such a piece of you. Like Bill Parcells told me a long time ago, he goes, "This game takes a piece of you, and each one of these games you play takes a piece of you." Um, it's the same for the players. They were mentally and physically exhausted, and all that for what? So okay, you got an NFC Championship ring. That's why I said what I said about driving out of the Honolulu airport and knowing where the hell you're going 3 years in a row. It's ludicrous. Super Bowl's on different sites. Pro Bowl was in one site. It was in Hawaii, and I actually knew where the hell I was going. It'd be like driving back to Cinnamon or something like that.
Hey, Brad, T.O. and Donovan McNabb weren't always on the field. They seemed like they were on the same page because there was success between both of them. Not all the time, but T.O. created issues with Donovan. What was the problem between the two?
I can only surmise. I don't know if Terrell was a morning, noon, and night guy. I mean, he scared everyone on our staff a couple times. That went downstairs late and walked in a training room to get a Band-Aid or a cotton swab for your ear because you're living in the place. And Terrell's in there, and he's in there at 10 o'clock at night on a weekday night, and he was always trying to get his body right and. As you can see with the sit-ups in the driveway, I don't know if he felt like he didn't work hard enough or he wasn't in good enough shape or, I mean, it's anybody's bet. I've heard a lot of people ask that, and I don't know that I could ever put my hand on one thing.
You know what? People see the quick shots on television on the sideline, and they saw T.O. going, and I'm sure you guys saw it in tape somewhere, that T.O. going after Donovan. Was he not a guy that you can control on the sidelines because of his emotions?
Um, no, you could control him on the sideline. Now, a lot of times it fell to the wide receiver coach. It fell to David Culley, but the problem was David at that point in time was upstairs, and I was upstairs as well. And somebody else was calling the plays. I did that for the first couple of years, but when I became the coordinator, then I went upstairs as a pair of eyes. But it's an emotional game, Howard. I mean, he wore his emotions on his sleeve. Win, lose, or draw. You were gonna know about
Oh, uh, oh, okay.
Go ahead.
Oh, there you go. And we just lost you for a second. But all right. So now I'm going to follow up with Terrell Owens. Did Andy, after all that stuff happened, did Andy said, is there any way we can fix this? Because he was such a good player. But he was the exact opposite, his personality. Did Andy want to try, and he sent him home from training camp. Did Andy want to try to fix this?
That'd be a question for Joe Banner because he had the purse strings then. He knows what kind of contract he signed. Um, if he was obviously angling for more money, I'm not sure exactly how it did get fixed. If they reworked his deal, I just know he wasn't with us for long
No,
after that.
he was gone pretty much after that, and and then Dallas. It's just he was a different guy. All right, let me talk about coaching, and this comes T.O.'s just part of it. As a head coach, and you were a head coach for what, 5 years with Minnesota, right? A little
Yep.
different
Yep.
now than it was back then. How difficult, and football teams have more players than any other professional franchise. How difficult is it to get all 53, and I assume there was 53 back then, 53 players? How difficult is to get all of them on the same page as a head coach?
Yeah, you know what? Everybody contributes a different way, and so you got to try to keep people involved. There's nobody that makes it 50. I mean, I've always wondered on a 53-man roster, if you got 53, we're paying 53. How come 53 aren't up on every Sunday? You could say, well, because some guys are injured but the injury rules have changed. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to keep everybody between the tracks and trains running on time, and you know, you got to have a few rules. You can't have every rule, but you know, whether it was how you dress to get on a plane, I think all that's changed. You know, and T.O. tormented us with that, with, you know, no tennis shoes. Well, shoot, the tennis shoes he was wearing were like $700-800 pair of tennis shoes, you know. So you know, what are you talking about? These shoes cost more than your shoes, you know. But yeah, and answer your question, it can be a challenge.
Yeah, and that's where it's difficult. And the head coach, when a team doesn't have the success, then ownership and the fans have a voice because they chirp a lot too. They don't have the success. In most cases, it's usually the players didn't do their job or the team wasn't good enough. How difficult is that for a coach, head coach?
It's difficult because you're always looking for people who can do their job, however small and mundane it is. I mean, whether it's your punter directional kicking because he told you he was going to directional kick and he bombs one to Reggie Bush and the guy runs back for a touchdown. And you're like, "What are you doing?" I thought we were directional kicking. I just kind of lost track. You know, well, that wasn't your job. We were going to directional this week. You know, it's hard to accept.
Well, it is, but and some coaches, Andy Reid, I think, has turned out the most assistant coaches to become good head coaches. Would you agree with that?
Mhm. I would. I don't have any numbers in front of me, but he's
Put a
put some out there. Yes.
put a lot of guys out there. All right, so and you put a pretty good one out there too, and he worked at different levels. Kevin Stefanski, who's in town now for the joint practice with the Eagles. Kevin was one of your one of the people that worked for you. Uh, did you see in Kevin Stefanski what does a coach see in an assistant to know, hey, this guy's got a chance to be really good someday?
Well, I think I mentioned to you maybe yesterday in a text that the great thing about Kevin was Kevin had been up to Allentown. He had been to our training camp as a training camp intern. I mean, I knew Kevin when he was stocking all the players' coolers with Gatorade and water and making sure that, you know, all the drinks were going to be cold in the morning. I mean, he accepted that job and he did it like he loved it. We obviously know his background growing up in a family where, you know, dad was a NBA general manager, so he's seen athletes. He wasn't going to be intimidated by Terrell Owens, or if he had to go down and put a fine certificate on Jared Allen's stool. You know, he just wasn't going to get
Right.
wowed. Great communication skills, because the guy that sits in that seat that helps the head coach has got to interface with everybody in the building, including management. Hey, get the coaches together. We're having a meeting, or call the personnel guys, get the GM. You know, so he talked to all levels, and he was very adept at that. And then, you know, he indicated he wanted to get into coaching. So like his first coaching room had Brett Favre in it. You know, so. You learn a lot of lessons from Brett, some good and some
You know,
bad.
it's kind of the whole thing is kind of interesting, and Kevin's done a really good job. And there's different personalities on the sidelines. Andy Reid, very stoic, but he's got
Yes.
everything under control. Nick
Yep.
Sirianni is emotional, and there's some emotional guys. I guess John Gruden was a little bit like that too. Um, Not
Yep.
as much nowadays. You don't find as many coaches like that. Um, I like a coach that's emotional because, and I don't know that the players feed off of that. Do you think in any way the emotion of the coach, as long as he's got everything under control, the head coach, the emotion of the coach translates it all to the players during the game.
Well, you know what, I do see teams take on the persona of their head coach. I think that, that's the guy that sets the tempo. But, Andy's not a cry and sling snot, give you a pep talk, run out of the locker room guy. That's not his deal. He's going to prepare you during the week. And I would see Kevin the same way, is hey, give you every tool you had to be able to win, and then let's see if you guys can go out and execute it. And you're right, to be the coach of the year 2 out of 4 years,
Yeah.
pretty damn good thing in Cleveland.
How head coaches today, how much different it seems like, and it was I think I talked to when I talked to Andy Reid, I talked to him about it, talked to Doug Peterson, I talked to him about it. It seems like coaches today can't say as much to the players as they used to be able to say. Agree or disagree, and if so, why?
No, I agree. Just because everything's a flashpoint these days. Y- don't be negative. Don't call somebody out. And I get that. You shouldn't call people out in the media if you haven't talked to them. And even if you have talked to them, it doesn't belong out there unless somehow they find it. That was you guys' job, right? But yeah, I mean, we're in a kinder, softer world right now.
Right.
I mean, I can remember up in Allentown that it was Tagliabue then. Corey Stringer had passed away of heat prostration at the Vikings, and we were one of the only teams that was still going 2-a-days and pads for the first 3. And they implored Andy to change it, and Andy wasn't going to change it because it was a tried and true formula. And then the owners gave it away and legislated that for, yeah, they don't have to practice in the spring. Oh, we can take these away, because they got more of a piece of the pie.
All right. Do you like, as a head coach, when you could, I believe you still, when you were coaching as a head coach, you could have 2-a-days, right? You could
Yes,
have 2-a-days. You tackled to the ground. You
yes.
had practices that were real. Players played in preseason games. Do you like that better than what they do today, where they don't have more than one practice a day? A lot of players don't even play in the preseason games. They don't tackle to the ground. Do you like it better then or now?
Well, I'm a throwback. I think to be good at something, you have to practice it. And
Yep.
I guess what I see now is I see with as little as they compete in the preseason, and I'll tell you how Andy gets around that. As little as they compete in the preseason, I see the whole month of September as really being their ramp up to the rest of the season and playing football for the rest of the season, physical condition wise, mentally, from a standpoint of technique and how they're practicing. Yeah, they come on the practice field, but they don't do it at the same level as you do. We used to say there's different speeds. There's training camp speed, there's regular season speed, and postseason speed is way different than regular season speed.
When you look back at the players and you coached as an assistant, excluding T.O., was there a player that was, I'll use not difficult, but had a different type? Who was the other player you think of that had a different type of personality that you can think of that would be right there behind T.O.?
Oh, geez, I don't know if I can say that. I mean, he's at the head of the class, Howard. He's in the class by himself. I mean, you're going to sit on the sideline with a a hat that you wear in a bicycle race in the Tour de France and pedal the bike on the sideline at Dallas. I mean, have any of us ever seen anything like that before? I don't think so.
What do you remember about T.O. in the Super Bowl game? I think he caught 9 passes, and I don't know if his leg was still broken, but he had to sign a form because he probably shouldn't have played, because he was coming off, I guess it was a broken leg. What do you remember about T.O. in the Super Bowl?
What a beast of a competitor he was. I mean, 10 catches, I think he had for 100 yards, or 9 catches for 100 and change. He was our leading receiver, and they knew they had to take the guy away, and they still couldn't take him away. yeah, there's no question that on Thursday before the Super Bowl, I watched him practice. I said to myself, there's no way this guy can be effective when we go out there and play.
Really,
Only as a defense.
you didn't think that he was going to be ready for the Super Bowl?
I did not. No, I did not. Based on what my eyes told me.
And why did you not think he'd be ready for this? Because he was unbelievable. Why
Just
did you
because
think
he was hobbled. I mean, he didn't have all of his he didn't have all of it, the stuff that's in his kit. He didn't have all his faculties. I mean, his leg was hurting him, and how he got through that, I have no idea how he got through that, but obviously he got it through it in an A+ way.
you know what? What was T.O.'s best quality as a wide receiver?
I think great. I wouldn't say it was catching the ball, although receivers by definition should receive. When you looked at his tape, just a fierce competitor, and he was strong at the line of scrimmage. You couldn't get up in his face and bump and run because he would physically take it to a defensive back, knock you out of the way, and have his way going down the field.
Yeah, he was. So, would you say his best quality was that he was a fierce competitor?
Fierce competitor. I mean, not afraid to catch a slant in traffic, catch a deep in route running through the middle of the field. There was no place he was afraid to go.
All right, Brad, let's take a look. And I don't know how much you've seen. Well, you haven't seen the Eagles much this year because they only played one preseason game. But what do you think it would take for the Eagles to go back to the Super Bowl this year?
Well, the easy thing to say is to stay healthy, because that's healthy teams are the ones that are playing in January and into February. There's exceptions. Mike McCartney did it at Green Bay with a bunch of different injuries at a bunch of different positions. But I mean, I think you got to keep your fingers crossed to stay healthy. And they have a quarterback that moves around, that's susceptible to a hit when he takes off. But I would say, keeping that guy healthy is as much as anything. And then, you know what? It starts up front. They've always been very good in the offensive line. Obviously, their defensive line. I worked with Vic in Chicago at the Bears. I mean, their defensive line is outstanding, and it starts up front. You gotta stay healthy in those areas. If a guy like Saquon's going to take off and run for a bunch of yards.
That's probably why Detroit didn't get to the NFC Championship. They were a really good team, but injuries kind of really hurt them. I remember it's when Doug Peterson won, when the Eagles won in the 2017 season, they had five key injuries, and they still, it's amazing. And including the quarterback, without the quarterback, I don't know how you can win in the NFL, but the Eagles did it. Nick Foles had the game of his life.
He did, and of course Nick spent a little time with us in Kansas City. He certainly had the tools, and he was a kind of a sneaky athlete, I mean, he fancied himself as a basketball player, wanted to go to Gonzaga, but there's a lot of 6'4" guards. As a matter of fact, there's 6'7", 6'8" in the NBA and college these days. Yeah, Nick had the game of his life up here in freezing cold Minneapolis.
Yeah, it's just is that where you're living these days in Minnesota area?
Yeah, in the nice months up here, like Bud Grant used to tell me, he goes to coach here, to live here, you got to have two things. You got to have anticipation and appreciation. And what he's talking about is anticipation. The weather is eventually going to get nice, and then appreciate it for the short time that it is nice here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We have a lot of lakes there, so
It's got a lot of lakes,
and they're all frozen in the wintertime when there's a
yeah, and he tells stories about that. I'm scared to death. I maybe watched too many Harry Houdini movies, but I'm scared to death to drive a car on frozen ice. And he'd go, Brad, it's frozen a foot and a half. You only need 6 inches to carry a car. I said, Bud, it doesn't make any difference to me. I hear that stuff cracking underneath my feet or the tires. I'm like, whoa, get your ass back on solid ground.
I know, it's crazy. Hey, Brad, I appreciate it. And the TO moment, I'll tell you this. I conducted a canned food drive when TO Tio went
Canned
on
food truck.
CNBC. He went on CNBC. He said he just wanted to get enough food to feed, make enough so he could feed his family. So I conducted on the air a canned food drive, and a lot of people sent in canned food so I could give it to Tio so his family wouldn't starve. I wanted to
Oh
make
my
sure of
God.
that.
Yeah.
And then one night, Monday night football game, and Joe, I don't know if you have the picture ready. There was a Monday night football game where we had a funeral for T.O. jerseys. There was an actual funeral home. It was crazy. There was a funeral home that came out that was a real casket, and everybody brought, there had to be 80 jerseys, 80 T.O. jerseys they brought. We put in the casket, and then he buried the T.O. jerseys. And that was
That's hilarious. And I am looking at the picture, Howard, and your hair still looks good. And the guy with the McNabb jersey on has got my haircut right there. Exactly.
I know, but it was a great. I'm telling you, so many people came out it was a Monday night game, and I said, the funeral director said, why don't we bury the jerseys? So he brings out a real casket in the parking lot, and people threw their jerseys into the casket. And then they took it away
How
to
about
bury
that?
them.
Only in Philadelphia, man.
Hey, listen, if you're not having fun, you're not trying hard
No,
enough.
that's right up there with the wing bowl. I've never heard anything about anything, let alone see 16,000 people in an arena at 7 o'clock in the morning eating chicken wings.
I know, it's crazy. Hey, Brad, it was nice catching up with you, and I appreciate it. And enjoy the short summers of Minnesota.
I will. I have appreciation right now. I'm in an appreciative phase right now.
All right, enjoy the lakes. And one of these times, you're going to drive over that lake when it's 0 degrees.
Not well. If I got anything to say about it, I'm not.
Okay. Hey, Brad, take care. Have a great day.
All right,
Thanks
Howard.
again.
You
Take
bet. Bye
care.
bye.
All right, take care. Brad Childress was the offensive coordinator when T.O. went off, and T.O. did go off. It's just, it's absolutely nuts. By the way, one of the things he said that I'm going to have a question for, and the question you're going to be able to win with this question if you answer it correctly and submit your entry to my website, and I'll come up with the question shortly. Go to howardeskin.com by Friday, August 15th. Watch my show on Saturday, and we'll announce the winner of the Oakley sunglasses, and I'll have the question shortly. Also, I want to congratulate our winner of the Chickies and Pete's gift certificate, and that was off our last show. I had a question where I would hit me. Doesn't mean the Phillies are going to do it. Where I would hit Bryce Harper, and I said I would hit him 5 and not 3. Steve Dentino answered the question correctly, among others, but we'd select a winner at random from the correct answers. And congratulations, Steve. You won a Chickies and Pete's gift certificate, and thanks. All right. I'm going to take care of some business here. First, I'm going to tell you, thanks again to our presenting sponsor, Stillwell Financial Advisors, and Jeff Stillwell, who does a great job with what he does. I'm telling you, I've gotten so many great ideas and ways to invest, and they came from Jeff, and he's a really sharp guy and a good guy, really good guy. Check him out. Just give him a call and see what you think. 732-343-0813. All right, some of the things that I want to talk about. Obviously, the Eagles had a joint practice the day that we speak. It's just, and by the way, at the end of the show, I got another great moment. Another great moment from a T.O.'s career, and we're going to play that for you at the end of the show. But before I do that, I want to tell you about the great deal going on at Audi Westchester. You can lease a new 2025 Audi Q6 e-tron for $499 a month, or an Audi Q4 e-tron for $399 a month. You'll need $5,295 down for the Q6 and $4,156 down for the Q4 plus taxes and registrations fees. Stop by Audi Westchester. You'll have fun. Grab a cup of coffee, grab some snacks, talk to the people, have fun looking at the automobiles. Brand new facility. It's fun to go look at automobiles at Audi Westchester, 1421 Wilmington Pike. Now, this special offer will not last long. Lease a new 2025 Audi Q6 e-tron for $499 a month or an Audi Q4 e-tron for $399 a month. And also, there are tax credits on electric cars, and that won't last long. Check it all out, AudiWestchester.com. That's AudiWestchester.com. All right, you want to take care of your property. You wanted to build a pool, but you waited. You can still make that decision now. There's still plenty of time to build it. You won't have much of the summer left, but you'll have it ready for the beginning of next season. And to help you do that, Piazza Property Pros. A new in-ground pool, you've been dreaming about it. Renovation of your pool, Piazza Property Pros has you covered. 25 years of experience. That's important. They don't subcontract. That's important. Turn your vision into a reality. Top-notch craftsmanship, unmatched customer service. All the work done is by their skilled team, whether it's fencing, landscaping, pool maintenance, whatever you want. There's so many things they can do. Check it out. Trust Piazza Property Pros to deliver exceptional results on time and within your budget. Call 610-566-2608. That's 610-566-2608. Or check them out at piazzaoutdoor.com. All right. The joint practice. I'm a fan, but I'm not a fan. I'm a fan, but not a fan. It's just because the fans, there's not a lot of fans that get to see the practices. It's a limited number of people. And the reason I'm not a fan is because it's not fair to the fans, because the Eagles starters are not going to play in Saturday's preseason game with Cleveland. They're just not going to play. We've already seen that. They're not playing in the first game. They're not going to play in the second game. Nick Sirianni, I believe, speaks on Thursday, and he'll say, we'll see about that. But we got a lot of work in at these joint practices. He won't say it for sure. He didn't say for sure the first game, and he knew he wasn't going to play the players, and they're not going to play this game. I don't think that's fair. I understand the last game not playing because you want to get the other guys in. You don't want to get the starters hurt. You got to be careful about everybody getting hurt. But it's been, for a lot of years, the starters don't play in the last game. It's just the joint practices are nice because you're playing against somebody else, and the players have talked about that. They've talked about it, but because you're playing against somebody different, so that's okay. But it's still not fair to the fans for the preseason games when they don't play. All right, Jalen Hurts today. I actually heard him have more personality today, being Wednesday, as we do this show live, more personality, talking about his new quarterback coach, Scott Leffner. Is that how you say? I still have trouble with his name. And Jalen Hurts talks about him, and obviously they're on the same page, and that's the most important thing. They're on the same page. And for the quarterback to be on the same page, certainly with his offensive coordinator, which he is, and to be on the same page with his quarterback coach, that's important too. It's all important. Scott Leffler, and I don't know how you pronounce it, but Scott and Jalen Hurts talks about him. Let's hear from Jalen Hurts.
You think you're more confident when you get a promotion? Have you ever been promoted? Yeah, well, I mean, it's, you chase a dream, and, everybody's dream is to do that. And so once you know that you can, it brings a sense of assurance that you can, and I've said before, it's not a, it's a great question. You got me talking, but it's a matter of, if I've done it before, why couldn't I do it again? And so it's about knowing where you are as a team, being able to put all those things together to find a way to bring the best out of what the moment demands. And so that's where I am as a quarterback. There is definitely a sense of confidence. I know someone asked that question last week in reference to Saquon, and those are things that you want to feed off of and build off of, but you have to have a diligent approach to it daily. It's not something that's guaranteed, nothing is promised. And so there's a willingness to just be open. And I think for me, I've always remained to be teachable and to be open and be coachable. And so I just want to continue to grow. I've been on a journey, and that journey's still going, and it's all about winning for me and trying to experience that feeling more.
You know what? It's more personality I've heard him have in a response. Obviously, he's really on the same page with his new quarterback coach. All right. So what does a joint practice mean? Nothing. They're playing against other teams and they do different things. And the nitwit or nitwits, and I think there's only one, the nitwit that decides who wins and loses the joint practice. It's the most asinine, ridiculous thing I have ever heard or ever seen. It is nothing but getting clicks on social media. It's a complete and absolute joke. Nobody wins or loses. You just play against somebody else. All right, that's number one. All right, let's close it out. Or actually, there's a few things I got to do before I close it out. One of them is Joel Embiid. This is ridiculous. Joel Embiid, apparently it's out there, underwent arthroscopic knee surgery again in April, and the team apparently said it would be reevaluated in 6 weeks. We still haven't heard anything. 16 weeks since the first one, no update. Actually, April, May, June, July. It's about 16 weeks since he had that arthroscopic surgery. I just, again, I put an over under of 40 games played for Joel Embiid. I don't even think it's going to be 40. I would definitely take the under. He's a China doll, and they're trying to put back together Humpty Dumpty. For those people that don't remember Humpty Dumpty, it's a kid's book. And Humpty Dumpty fell off a wall, and they had to put him back together again. Joel Embiid didn't fall off of anything, and they still have to put him back together again. All right, here, and I have one of T.O.'s finer moments. But before we do that, I'm going to give you the question. The question, Brad Childress, what will it take? And submit your answer to my website, howardeskin.com, by Friday at midnight, August 5th. This Friday's August 15th. I will announce the winner on my show Saturday. The show's at 8 a.m. Either on X, I still call it Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube. And I would suggest you subscribe. You subscribe to YouTube because you're always notified. Easy to find my podcast. And you're always notified when I go on live with my podcast. And, I see Patty, the clip from Jalen. It's the most I heard Jalen talk about that long. Yeah, I mean, he obviously is on the same page. Obviously on the same page. My face, he's got an emoji up there. My face, and that's Al, the accordionist. My face when I hate Joel Embiid and my opponent is Howard Eskin. There's an emoji up there. I just, does anybody really have any faith in the Sixers? Any faith in Joel Embiid? None. It's just, somebody asked, Tony asked, So Howard Eskin, do you mean we will see a lot of good scrubs? No, you're going to see backup players. The second game, you're going to see backup. I don't know about the third game, and that game's on the road, but it's just you're not going to see a lot. All right. So the question. Let me get to the question. Brad Childress, I asked him the question: what will it take for the Eagles to go back to the Super Bowl? He actually mentioned two things. If you mention both, you'll be higher on the list. What will it take for the Eagles to go back to the Super Bowl? His response, submit it to my website, and you'll have a chance to win a pair of Oakley sunglasses. All right, before we leave you tonight, it's gonna it's gonna be funny. Before we leave you tonight, Terrell Owens, when he was with the Dallas Cowboys, he is just a real tool. All right, let's hear Terrell Owens, his famous comment when he was with the Dallas Cowboys.
It's not about, Tony. You guys can point the finger at him. You can talk about the vacation. And if you do that, it's really unfair.
It's really
unfair. It's my team.
My quarterback.
It's my quarterback. And if you guys do that, man, it's unfair. We lost as a team. We lost as a team, man.
It's my quarterback. He's my quarter, Tony Romo. He's my quarterback. He's my quarterback. Come on, T.O. Nothing's unfair. That's why guys get paid a lot of money. Because, hey, listen, some of the criticism might be unfair, but what has Tony Romo ever won? Tony Romo's won nothing. Nothing. So, all that nonsense. The Dallas Cowboys, you gotta dust off the Super Bowl trophies. You got to find them first. They're buried in a closet somewhere. It's a joke. It is a complete and absolute joke. T.O.'s, I can't get enough of that T.O. soundbite. That lives forever too. His sit-ups in the driveway live forever. 20th anniversary, and his comment. There he goes. He's cut. I'll say that. He wanted to show that off. Sit-ups in the driveway. It was about money. You know what? I hope his family enjoyed the Chef Boyardee ravioli when I conducted the canned food drive. And, let me show that picture of the casket again. Joe, if you can put that. We had people bury their T.O. jerseys. That is trust me, that is a real casket. And we buried probably about 80 Terrell Owens jerseys in that casket that night before a pregame show. It was absolutely sensational. And the people joined in. They got rid of their T.O. jerseys. It's nice. Hey, thanks. We'll see you again on Saturday. Chance to win the sunglasses. You got the question. What did Brad Childress think it will take for the Eagles to go back to the Super Bowl? Congratulations to the man that won, Steve, who won the Chickies and Pete's gift certificate. And thank you for being part of this show. And you know what? I'm just wishing the best we didn't touch on the Phillies because I still think they don't generate enough runs without home runs. I don't. And I'm going to stand on a wall saying that. I think they're going to break your hearts. I don't want to leave you with that, but I want to leave you with a good feeling. And the good feeling is I'll be back on Saturday morning at 8:00. And that's you and me on Saturday morning. Join the show on Saturday. Thanks for joining us for the Howard. And by the way, thanks to our producer who does a great job, Joe Gangemi. Thank you, Joe, for doing a great job again tonight on the Howard Eskin Show. Take care and have a great day.